This week on the Jock and Nerd Podcast, episode 5 reviews of Peacemaker on HBO Max and the Book of Boba Fett on Disney+. The Halo TV show is actually happening. We'll talk about the trailer and the history of 420. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Monday, January 31st, 2022.
This is Jason Mewes, and for reasons best left between you and your therapist, you're listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Snooch to the nooch. Check. Check one. All right. This is for all you fans out there. Let's give it up.
Jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah!
Hello, listener. How's it going? Welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
And he's the nerd.
And joining us is a fella who has also, incidentally, once dated a Jawa. It's Rug Boy. What's up, Rugs?
Mine was shaved. I don't know what the fuck she's
Oh,
talking
it wasn't
about.
furry? It
Yeah,
was
he waxed his butthole and everything.
Oh,
Furry.
it's a smooth.
Very
Very
furry.
furry. It was a smooth. You ever seen the smooth Jawas? They're even creepier.
Are you making that sound?
Oh, my
Am I
God.
just
that.
imagining?
Is that
That's
Hannibal?
me.
That was Anthony. I thought I was,
With some fava beans.
thought I was watching Silence of the Lambs there for a second. What's
Served,
going
ate his
on?
kidney with some fava beans.
Yes, Clarice. What was it, Clarice? Look, but guys, before we begin, I got to mention to you and the listener, this is episode 420. So, happy 420, everyone.
Yeah.
Those that know.
Is it really? Is it 420?
This 420. You got to celebrate 420 legally and responsibly in the state you're in. Remember, well, you know what's funny? Remember we did 400 and we're like, oh, we probably should have done something big for 400.
Oh, it's episode 420.
It's episode 420.
It's
and
not April 20th.
it's not
I'm like,
actually.
wait a
Did you think
minute.
it was 420 the time?
I
Jeez.
just got that. It flew right past me.
Got it. I'm the
'Cause
one
I'm
that's
thinking
late.
about Jawa jokes for some reason. And too late.
No, 420 is you got to celebrate this number. I'm going to be lit like a Christmas tree the whole episode. Just, do you guys know 420? What do you know about the number 420?
I know that you smoke weed on that day.
Yeah, it's the weed day.
It's
What are
the
you trying to quiz us here?
Yes, it's the weed day
Mr.
and the
Big Shot, where you did some research.
and the weed
You didn't
time.
know about this prior to you doing
What are you talking
research
about?
for this podcast.
Every 420, I pause, I take a minute every day. I get up at 4:20 a.m. Also, you can't miss a 420. But 420 on 420 is very special. No, I always thought I didn't know the real reason for 420 for years. I heard many things, like it was the number of chemicals, active chemicals in the cannabis, 420. I also heard it was the police code for like a drug bust. Some people think it's based on Hitler's birthday, which is also 420. But I have the real story. Do you guys care? Does anybody care?
How long is it going to take?
I don't care, but
2 minutes.
yeah, just 2 minutes. Let's see what happens.
I don't care either. But you've built up to
I
this
already
at this
built up
point. We better
420.
go for it.
The term 420 goes back to a group of California teenagers who used to hang out by a wall outside of their San Rafael high school, and they ended up getting the nickname the Waldos. Now, in 1971, the Waldos learned of a Coast Guard member who had planted a cannabis plant, and he couldn't tend to the crop anymore. He allegedly gave them a treasure map leading to this free crop of cannabis somewhere. So this group would meet in front of a Louis Pasteur statue outside their high school once a week at 4:20 p.m. They were all athletes, which is why it was 4:20. It was after practice. So these were functioning stoners. They'd get in a car, they'd smoke weed, and they would drive around looking for the free marijuana. And then eventually in the hallways, they would go, hey, 420 Louis. They would say 420 Louis. They never found the weed, but now they had a way to talk about weed without teachers and parents knowing what they were talking about. Now it's spread because of the Grateful Dead. this is what made it huge. A couple of these Waldos had connections to the Grateful Dead. One was good friends with the bassist. One guy's dad dealt with the Grateful Dead real estate. So they'd be hanging out backstage during shows, and whenever the joint would come by, they'd be like, hey, 420. And then it got huge. And like, I just remember in college, it was just the thing. People were like, hey, 420. And I'm like, what? And then
You don't question shit like that.
You're like, yes, 420, yes.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Whatever it means. But it's all these high school kids go, I think the story was
So
interesting.
ultimately, it's meaningless. It's just the same
it's absolutely meaningless. Yes,
Just the time, right?
Yes.
They were meeting up.
Yep, it's the time they were meeting up to look for.
It would be
pot.
better, more historic if it was like the first weed ever smoked ever by a person, and then it was at 420 or
Or
something.
on
I don't
April
know.
20th at 420.
Or like if Jesus smoked weed at that time.
Oh, if he did, it would have been on 420. Absolutely.
And you guys make fun of the Gen Zers for their terms.
Yes, I mean every generation has got dumb fucking.
I didn't
terms.
make that shit out. That's some boomer shit.
420 is still around though. People still use
Still
the term.
around? Yeah, of course it's still around.
It's still around. People get excited when it's 419. I get very excited.
Geek boner.
I'm like, oh my god, I got a minute. I can still make this. Anyways, there's your fucking history lesson for the episode. Let's get to the fucking shit, you guys.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Look, you learn stuff here. That's all I wanted.
This is an educational podcast.
I wanted to be educational. Sometimes I want to be educational. Before we get to our two shows that we are currently reviewing, there is a big trailer that came out yesterday. Ruggs, I think this is. I'm gonna hand this over to you. I think this can get you excited.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
It is the first trailer for the actual Halo video game live action TV adaptation.
Oh shit!
Holy shit! This show is actually getting made. I've been hearing about this show trying to get made. They've been trying to make the show since 2015. It will be on Paramount Plus on March 24th. Let's just start with you, Rug Boy. Did you see the trailer? Did they nail it, Geek Boner?
Floppy John.
Geek
I
boner.
did see the trailer. I was thinking, holy shit. Now that they make two shows with people wearing their helmets all the time, they can make the Halo show.
It's got a lot of Mandalorian vibes. Yes.
Yeah, it's just like a guy that you never see his face, and he's the fucking man. He's the Master Chief. He looks great. They look like they spent some money on it. It's got vibes of Halo, and it's a little bit more militaristic, but they do show some of the alien stuff too. And yeah, I'm psyched. I never thought I'd see a Halo anything. So the fact that this is even out and it looks like they actually tried a little bit to do Halo, I'm interested. You see the Warthog, you see the whole
Yeah,
thing.
you see the vehicles and the giant covenants, and they got their blades, and the Master Chief looks fucking cool. Looks like he's right out of the video game. Anthony, you check out this trailer. What are your thoughts on the trailer?
I did check out the trailer. Admittedly, I've played Halo,
Okay.
but I've only played Halo in like multiplayer where you're just trying to kill each other. So I have no real
Oh, the
idea
game's
of-
amazing.
Yeah, but I haven't actually played it.
The story.
The story, yeah, I've only played it against other people, so I have really no clue on like what the lore is, any of the history. So I had to like look at. I researched it a little bit. Admittedly, didn't really get it. I haven't been immersed in this game and wasn't really drawn to it. That being said, I thought the trailer looked good. I thought the suit of the guy in the is he wearing a
Master
Halo
Chief.
suit?
Yeah.
Oh, he's a Master Chief.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I did show it to my friends who regularly listen to the podcast and like nerdy things, and a few of them were like, "Yeah, this looks like TV budget," so they were not all that impressed.
Well, it's
Interesting.
Paramount Plus, so it's like I didn't expect much from them at all. You know?
Yeah, maybe if you're going with that expectation, but they were like, I wish this was more of a movie than a TV show. So just in terms of budget,
is $40 million for, I think there's 9 episodes.
Yeah, which is how much is per episode? Is that? Is that like,
It's it's a little over 4. What is that? Somebody do the math.
it's like it's like 4 point something million.
so like Game of Thrones is like 15 million an episode.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah, and-
4.5 million.
So it's like the
What's-
budget is like not even
What's
close.
Disney?
I think that they're like probably in the same vein. Like
No, I think Disney's like 100, right?
Disney is throwing $150 million at some of these, like a movie budget. So,
No,
So
an
there's like 6
episode?
episodes, not an episode,
for
but
the
over
whole
6
season. Yeah,
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
this is considerably less than Disney.
I mean, you could still do a lot with $4.5 million, but if a $40 million budget for a movie would also be considered low. You can kind of think of it that way. I mean, it looked okay. The effects didn't look bad. I love like how you see inspiration of like Aliens and Star Wars and Star Trek and Dune a little bit. It's all in there. Ruggs, explain the gist of what Halo is.
Real quick.
Oh my
TLDR.
god! Like basically, you got a Master Chief, which is like the ultimate weapon that they have, and they have Cortana, which is fused to him, which kind of like guides him and helps him hack into shit and be the ultimate weapon. And it's basically they're fighting an alien invasion, and there's like these aliens that are, I forgot what they're called, but there's one of them that actually turns sides and teams up with you, and you kind of you have to blow shit up. And I mean, that's basically what I remember. I mean, as I said, I played this game like back in the early 2000s. Like I used to play the shit out of this game. And then what happened was Bungie made it, and then they sold it to Microsoft. Now Microsoft owns it, and Bungie has nothing to do with it. So after Bungie sold it, I was like, fuck it, because like Bungie is my preferred game maker, and I feel like that it lost its soul a little bit when Microsoft took it over. And so I haven't been sticking to it like lately, but because Bungie's replaced it with Destiny. So but yeah, it was like the predecessor to Destiny. It was like the idea was a super Spartan, and that would be able to be like the ultimate warrior and
super
like
engineered soldier.
Yeah, you never see his face, like the Mandalorian type thing. I think they copped that from Halo because
possibly.
Yeah, or something, because I don't think I even knew the Mandalorians didn't take off their helmets, because I seen them helmetless in all the Clone Wars and shit. So, yes, he never takes his helmet. You never see his face.
So this game originally came out like 2001, and it moved. It was like exclusive on Xbox. It moved a lot of Xboxes. It's one of the few games that I actually played all the way through and played a lot. It's the game that made me buy an Xbox because everybody was talking about this game. And like, I just remember it being big at the time with the weapons and being able to jump into a vehicle and then run the gun on the vehicle and jump out free.
And all the weapons did cool stuff. Like you had like the alien guns. They had like the little needler and shit.
The story was great. It was very immersive. But apparently, Ruggs, this is a different timeline than the games. Like, I guess they're calling this a silver timeline so as not to interfere with. There's also tons of comic books and novels and other Halo stories since then.
Well, that's the thing. They've been trying to get this property off of the ground for a while. I think that it's still relevant. I mean, think about this. This is a 20-year-old IP, video game IP that's still going. So I'm surprised that they haven't tried to. They've made these like little series and stuff like Red and Blue and this and that.
The game engine allowed you to like make little movies and add audio, and like you saw that for a lot. It was like Halo sitcoms and stuff.
Yeah, they had that, and there was some other kind of Halo militaristic thing with no Master Chief in it. I think this is the first one that has Master Chief and the aliens in it. So I don't know. I'm excited I just never thought that they would even do anything with this. I thought nothing would ever come out.
I remember in 2015, Xbox was trying to make the show, and they were going to put the show on the Xbox platform. Right? It was going to be
what?
Yeah, they were going to make a show just for Xbox live action. That never happened. Then I think it moved to Showtime. And then eventually now moved to Paramount Plus.
I think Neil Blomkamp was supposed to do it, and
at one point probably, yeah.
And then he made District 9.
Well, I think he was supposed to do that after District 9. Yeah,
great movie. Also, they couldn't get the guy. Master Chief's voice is pretty iconic, wouldn't you say, Ruggs?
Yeah,
they couldn't get the guy who does the voice to be in this. I mean, I'm sure. So Master Chief in this is being played by Pablo Schreiber. I don't really know him. Oh, I've seen this guy in a bunch of things.
Does Beyonce sing the theme song to this?
No. But the theme song, you ever go into like a bathroom or a room that has an echo and you just start doing the Halo theme song? Like the chanting?
How is it? Do it for us.
It's like,
right.
Man, I have no concept of what. All I remember is playing this in college with like 2 or 3 monitors, and we would all just be playing on each our own monitor,
right,
trying to kill each other,
running around trying to kill each other.
And then you do swords only, and then you try to kill each other with the swords.
It's a fun multiplayer game. It's one of it really changed the whole like archetype of what it could be. So It made multiplayer first-person shooter gaming, like, it changed the whole platform. It was great.
I mean, it was one of the first online multiplayer games I tried, but then very quickly got discouraged because every time I fucking show up, some fucking kid would shoot me in like 30 seconds and I have to respawn. And then I just couldn't. I was like, oh, I am not that good at this. I can't fucking fuck with this multiplayer. So I just played the story where you could set it on easy.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, it's just, I never thought that was going to happen. Then all of a sudden, after this Bungie related thing, this next bit of news comes out that Sony is buying Bungie for $3.6 billion.
Yep. Right after they released the trailer, they released. So Sony is just trying to keep up because this month, Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard for $70 billion.
Yeah, they just started
$70 billion.
Microsoft is buying out like these companies left and right, and like Sony's like, oh shit, like PlayStation doesn't have anything. We better buy something.
They said Bungie will still be an independent subsidiary, and they're gonna be able to self-publish, and they can publish wherever they want on any system. So there's no exclusivity. But what does this mean, Rugg? Sony buying Bungie?
So Bungie partnered with Activision, I believe. Please let me get this right because I'm going off of memory and not looking at notes or anything. But they
will be wrong.
Probably. But I'm admitting that I'm putting false information out there. Probably. But like the point is, they had a partnership with a big distributor and it didn't work out. And they ended up taking Destiny back from them and kind of making it on their own. So now Sony swoops in. And now they're an even bigger company buys them, not even partners, buys them. So it's strange. But the difference between Activision and Sony is Sony can make movies. Sony can make TV shows.
That's a good point.
Sony can do a lot with this IP. So like they're not only just buying the video game company, but I think that they're buying the IP too. And if they choose to do that, Destiny's got a kind of interesting story a different world. It could be another Star Wars. It could be another type thing like that. Yeah. Definitely. It's like a superhero Star Wars, and it could totally be a new franchise, without a doubt. So I'm excited about that too. So double Bungie related news today.
And the other connection we have, Anthony, you remember Chris Barrett, our buddy, he came on the show, talk about Destiny. He worked on Halo. He worked for Bungie. He came from Bungie. He actually worked on like the actual game and environment particles and stuff. So anybody I think who has stock in Bungie, they get it's a happy day for them, right?
Oh, he's probably making out like a bandit.
So yeah, but Bungie was with Microsoft in 2000. They bought them, and then in 2007 they went independent.
Go Bungie, go
and
Bungie,
then signed with Activision, and now.
Go.
Wow. So, yeah, just like Disney buying Fox and these Hollywood studio consolidations, same thing's happening.
What was Marvel bought for, $7 billion?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was around $7 billion.
And
look it up.
Star Wars was $4 billion.
So this is almost as much as Star Wars.
This is almost as much as Star Wars, just a little bit. But
that's fucking crazy.
And also
$4 billion.
$4 billion for Marvel?
Yep.
This company, Take-Two, also bought Zynga for $12 billion.
Zynga? I used to use Zynga.
Zynga. Z-Y-N-G?
Oh,
Zynga?
no.
Zynga? They're a video game company.
No, Zynga was the social media site before MySpace.
Really? I don't even remember Zynga. That was before MySpace? Holy shit.
It's before MySpace, yeah.
Well, the video game landscape's going to get changed and consolidated, and fucking huge deals are happening. It's crazy. I'm excited for this Bungie show. I mean, for the Halo show. March 24th.
I'm going to check it out.
Paramount Plus, which we have a subscription to so we can all watch it.
It's 9 episodes. It's nothing.
Yeah. It's going to be good. Listener, let us know. Are you excited? Do you have Geek Boner?
Geek Boner.
For the Master Chief. Join the conversation. We have a Facebook group called Jock and Nerd Nation.
Jock and Nerd.
It is a way
Jock and Nerd.
You can hang out, meet all the listeners, keep in touch, post stuff. We share comments. It's a closed, exclusive just for you and us. Join it today. Okay, first TV show. I'm switching it up. This time we're going to do Peacemaker first, then take a break, and then do Book of Boba Fett. I just thought I'd change it a little bit. Peacemaker, episode 5. Here is your spoiler alert.
Let's spoil some shit, Batman.
See, DC-themed episode spoiler alert.
Oh, very
This
Nice.
See how it all ties together? This episode is called Monkey Dory, which is a play on the phrase hunky dory. Everything's hunky dory, fellas.
Oh, not honky dory?
Is it honky dory? No, that's a different saying, I think. Hunky dory. Of course, the whole series written and directed by James Gunn. Anthony, fill us in. What happens on Monkey Dory?
So from the last episode, we learned that Mern is probably a butterfly.
He is a butterfly.
He's a
beautiful butterfly.
Was it Crazy Town? They had a good butterfly song.
Oh, yes. It's a great rap song.
Come, my lady.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. And so Peacemaker and the team are tasked with a mission because Mern and the team connect the dots, and they learn that there's this power plant. There's this tea company, right?
It's a bottling company.
That's possibly making stuff for the butterflies or has some sort of connection to the butterflies. So the team has to investigate this bottle company. While doing that, they also have to kind of still deal with their inner turmoil. In this episode, it's more focused on Peacemaker and Diebeard, or as his real name is, Economos. So they're dealing with that little bit of tension, also trying to figure out what's going on with these butterflies, and it's just another kind of like a mission episode with some actual kind of action and tension towards the end. So, we'll get into what we thought of it, but that's the basic plot.
I mean, I thought it had some good action, some killer lines. There's a whole sequence that I was dying laughing at.
There's also the side plot of the investigators, the detectives, kind of figuring out what's going on with Christopher Smith, Peacemaker's dad,
Augie,
and getting underneath maybe that he was framed, and we get into that.
Yes, with Detective Sonia Song and Ruggs,
Lucy Liu.
Oh, yeah, she starts calling him white. She's like, "All right, Jimmy Fallon." And she's like, "I ran out of white people names." What'd you think overall, Anthony, of the episode? Then
I like this one. I like this one more than I liked last week's.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in retrospect, I felt like last week's was a little bit slower. This one definitely picks up on the action. A lot of really cool, gory scenes. You get a little bit of a reward for seeing the scene where in prior episodes where the gorilla escapes.
Yeah, there was a missing gorilla on the TV, and it's not Grodd.
No, it's not Grodd.
I thought it was going to be Grodd.
Butterfly gorilla.
Yeah, butterfly gorilla.
But you get to see some good action. You get to see the team kind of bond a little bit, and finally start to not necessarily always be griping with one another, and maybe they're actually starting to get along. You had some good Peacemaker lines. The part where he's like, "If I'm going to finger a girl, I'm not using my pinky." And he has some good like 80s lines towards in the fight scene where he's raiding the factory. He's eat peace,
motherfucker. Right.
Or there's the line where he's got the guy on the ground, one of the butterflies, and the butterfly is like, "They're with Charlie. He's our something along the lines. He's our savior." He's like, "He's not doing a very good job." So straight out of the 80s stuff.
He's like, "What do lesbians know about finger banging?"
good lines, and then they're still getting like the Adebayo kind of like her internal strife of working for Waller and what's the significance of planting the diary, and it ends on a cliffhanger. So overall, I thought it was actually a pretty solid episode, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Adebayo's having trouble with her work-life balance there, and she's really getting into her job now, but blowing off her family. So she's got to find a balance. Ruggs, what'd you think? Favorite moments, favorite things, lines?
Well, I like that they are bonding and starting to kind of become a team that cares about each other. They start the what is it called? The 11th Street?
The 11th Street Kids.
The 11th Street Kids.
From Hanoi Rocks, which is a real band.
Yeah, it is a real band. Yeah, there was a little bit of that metal conversation going on, or him and Economos bonded over metal.
Yeah, I love that they bonded over Norwegian hair metal.
Yes, and the Eagly thing was good. Where Eagly felt bad for him and brought him a kill. And
I love every time they're like best buds, and you could tell that he's sad. He's worried about him, and he brings him a rodent. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I like the new helmet with the X-ray eyes.
X-ray vision is important, and that gets into
for this particular mission, it is like you can see who's a butterfly. And
why wasn't he using this before? And the place is crawling with butterflies.
Yeah,
dude, I really enjoyed this episode. So many great things. Can we talk about the whole scene where they're watching Economos' PowerPoint presentation about what the butterflies are? Because first you get that great bit about he has the butterflies going in the butt, and Peacemaker's like, they go into the butt? And I love Vigilante goes, just because they're aliens doesn't make them gross. Bigotry, he says to him. It's so fucking funny. And then the Peacemaker goes, Superman's an alien. He's got a poop fetish, you know? It's fucking good. You heard it on Google.
You would think that the Peacemaker would like appreciate up the butt stuff,
right? He's
like he would probably think that was funny. Like I would if I was Peacemaker, but he put an up the butt thing. That's pretty fucking awesome.
And then my favorite thing in this whole episode was John Cena just naming celebrities and naming names when he's yelling at Economos, going, why the fuck did you frame my dad? And Economos is like, I panicked. I couldn't think of anybody else. And he just goes off. This is actually Cena improving. There's a podcast on HBO Max for the show, and they had Economos on, and he said James Gunn just kept running that scene, and he just told John, more names, faster, keep going. And I died when he goes Fran Tarkenton, Joe Montana, Joe Montana, and he just can't. It's like Michael B. Jordan. It's fucking hilarious. The post-credit scene in this one, it's more of him doing that with different names. Holy shit. And I was like, wow, John Cena is really fucking funny. I was really impressed. That's all improv.
Oh, he's good. I mean, I've been sold on John Cena since Suicide Squad, so I think he's a very talented guy, very talented actor. The one thing I didn't get about his character is I thought it was cool that he was just blowing the butterflies up.
Yeah.
But I thought his character prior to this had turned over a leaf and was like, wait a minute, there's more to these butterflies. So I didn't get that he was all of a sudden just so gung-ho about blowing them all away.
I mean, he went in there just blasting, and
because he owns a butterfly now.
Right,
he
they're
feeds
bonding,
the butterfly.
Right. Oh, that's a good
point. And he learned from Judo Master that the butterflies aren't what you think. So I would have thought he would have. I don't know. I felt like it was a step back for that character.
Isn't there a scene towards the end where in the jar, the butterfly takes the goo and makes a peace sign on the jar? Did that happen? That happened, right?
I don't think that happened.
I know. I think there was like a very quick at the end. I think the butterflies may actually be here to try to help humanity and help the Earth.
I don't remember that scene, but I do remember him feeding the goo to the butterfly.
Yeah, he's pouring the goo in there.
I don't know. I just felt like it was a fun little like scene, and definitely felt some tension when the gorilla was in there and just throwing them. Like I thought it was good action. The gorilla's throwing them all around, but when I thought about it a little more, I'm like, this isn't necessarily what I thought the character was going.
I think maybe they were in the shit and he needed to get in there because all of his teammates were in there and he was just like, fuck it, I gotta rise to the occasion.
Sure. That's possible.
There's some great lines here too where he blows the first one away and Adebayo's like, I would have loved a signal. He goes, the signal was I shot her head off. and then he straps a grenade to a Russian tank and throws it, and she's like, I'll run out of bio, would have been helpful. He's like, I gotta tell you to run from a fucking bomb? Come on. That was great.
Was she shooting people after he shoots them?
She did it once. Yeah. He's like, you don't have to shoot them after I do. He's like, she's like, oh, okay. But all that goo, there must be a lot of butterflies in the country. I think we saw a map briefly.
We saw a map earlier where it was all lit up, like all around the world there's butterflies.
And then I love Chris and Economos are bonding over Hanoi Rocks. And then I love how Vigilante is all salty because he can't bring his chainsaw. And he's like, I'll never get to kill anyone with a chainsaw. And Economos gets the fucking save with a chainsaw through the gorilla. And suddenly Peacemaker's like, that's what I'm talking about. He goes, they kind of goat. That's the man. You're the man. And now he finally respects him. And Vigilante's a little jealous, I think, now. He's like, wouldn't it have been cooler if he threw me the chainsaw and then I killed the gorilla? It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he's a loose cannon, that guy.
Where do we think the whole so I'll just jump ahead real quick and we can discuss more, Imran, if you have more, but it ends with Adebayo going to work because she can't sleep after placing the diary, and she happens to just throw on the helmet, X-ray vision, sees that Mern's a butterfly and Mern's attacked.
Yeah, and then he throws her
So-
outside. Yeah.
We also see Mern dealing with this guy that ends up being the Captain Locke, I think.
Is that guy a butterfly also? I
don't know,
wasn't
but
sure.
he helps him get those detectives off the scent
Right,
a little bit,
right.
off of Peacemaker, basically. But like, what do we think of like? What is Mern's deal? Because he's a butterfly, clearly, but he also has sent in his team to kill butterflies.
This is a good mystery. I don't
think, just like people, I don't think aliens are all just of the same mindset.
Right. There's good aliens, there's bad aliens.
Yeah.
So he's a bad butterfly.
So I swear that butterfly made a peace sign out of the fucking.
You're still on the peace sign.
Because that's Goff. The one he has was the Senator Goff butterfly. So if Mern is a butterfly who's come to stop the evil butterflies on the planet, or he's looking for a food source to take back, maybe they're fighting over the goo.
So you think Mern is a good butterfly?
I don't know.
I think he might be a bad butterfly.
So the big twist would be that he is a bad butterfly, and all the ones that they've been killing were actually trying to stop him from destroying the world or something.
Because he attacks Adebayo at the end and it cuts.
No, there's no way in hell that they're actually good. They're the good guys. This team is the good guys.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They think they're the good guys, but they're really
right.
carrying out some nefarious shit.
And, there's a mention of like deep state conspiracy and that they get blocked everywhere. And like how many butterflies are in the government that are either helping them or trying to stop them from finding out the truth.
What do we think the significance of planting the diary?
That's also weird. I don't understand. She's read it. She knows everything that's in there. I don't know why. Did she put something in
that
there?
diary is going to be bogus. It's going to
You don't
be.
think it's a real diary?
I think that there's things in there that they've forged or something to make the Patsy Peacemaker.
Yeah. I think there's something to do in the. I think there's something in the diary
To frame
that
him?
makes. I don't know if it framed. No, it's not to frame him. I think it's just to like throw him over the edge.
Oh.
Maybe something along the lines of him being responsible for his brother's death or something. Something I don't know, but I think they're definitely trying to fuck with. Obviously, trying to fuck with Peacemaker. The most important question though, out of the three that I had is, when is he banging hardcore?
Is that happening? She's starting
Because
to warm
she
up
does
to him a
refer
little
to
bit
him,
more
according
now,
to him, as being handsome.
Right.
Remember that? He
That's
goes,
great.
And she's starting
what's the
to like
context?
come around on him a little bit, but
What did he say? He goes, "Oh, just because you're so handsome doesn't mean you can get what you want. Can't be an asshole to everybody or something like that."
You're
She's
still a piece of
and I was
shit,
like,
though.
Yeah, she's like,
I don't know.
I guess
what do you think, Anthony? What does that mean, Anthony?
that if he's gonna bang.
No, I mean,
hardcore?
like if someone says to you that those the
I would definitely be like Peacemaker in that instance. That's one of the few times I would be like
think I'm
Peacemaker. I'd definitely be like, yeah, she thinks I'm fucking hot. Fucking hot.
He goes,
That's
she
fucking
wants
A.
it. She digs this. She wants this.
I like that Adebayo when Peacemaker tries to offer her a drink,
Yes.
like to come in. Adebayo's like, you're not gonna like try to have sex with me. Are
You're not
you?
going to claim your dick is lesbian to fuck me, right? He goes, that gorilla broke my dick, and by the way, my dick is lesbian, but this is inappropriate right now. Also, the drink he makes her. We learned a bunch of things in there. We learned that there's a newspaper clip that says new hero Peacemaker apprehends Kite Man. So he was a good guy and got Kite Man at one point, and Kite Man's a great character in the Harley Quinn show. And then he offers her a drink called the Peace Train, which is gin, vermouth, vinegar, peppercorn, maple syrup, and yak butter. And it tastes like feces, apparently. It's not a good...
Well, yeah.
Really? Yeah. He didn't use yak butter because it's hard to get around there. But I love their little relationship. It's very cool and endearing.
Yeah, I'm starting to turn again. Last week I was like, Adebayo is definitely evil. Like I think there's something going, not evil,
right.
but nefarious. Yeah. And now I'm coming. I've switched my stance. I think she is like genuinely trying to help Peacemaker, but also is stuck between that and completing the mission for her mom.
Right. And Waller's going to come in and fuck them all at some point.
They're definitely, as Rugg said, they're definitely doing a mission where we know the gist now. Like this has happened in both Suicide Squad. They're doing something that they think is good for good reason, but they're not.
Oh, we also get the return of Amber and Evan, where the detectives visit them, and Evan just spills it right away. And Amber's like, "Evan, you fucking pussy."
It's just like the most miserable couple I've ever seen. It really is.
They're
I would fucking
hilarious.
kill myself if I was them.
They are so funny.
I will say, how many episodes we got left?
We got 3 episodes left now.
I have been enjoying the show for the most part, but I don't think I could take a whole universe of this.
Yeah.
Like, the conversations are funny, but if like every show was like this, I wouldn't think it was funny
you
anymore.
tire of it. It's like Vegas. It's great for 3 days, right?
Right. For like one
I've
season.
never been there,
There
but
is-
that's what I've heard.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. At Vegas, you have to leave after 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. And there is a small part of me, although I am enjoying it, that I'm like getting a little tired of the fact that like every conversation is like the same conversation,
kind of
just
is.
equally stupid.
Yeah, just get ready for another random. Like, remember the part where we learned Peacemaker gave all nicknames for people based on what their dick looked like? That was
Right,
a conversation. He calls him Thimble, Prince Charming, because it looked like a scepter. But there's tons of these little side combos. I don't know. At least they moved the story forward a little bit.
At least
here.
the story's moving forward, and there's some progression with it. Like the team doesn't absolutely hate each other anymore. And I felt like this story, like last week, I felt like the story kind of stalled a little bit, but this one drove it forward like a couple stops on the train, which is what I want to see.
So the detectives know that the prince matched and they got switched, and she ends up going to her uncle to get a search warrant. So that's going to be interesting. Also, they drop a lot of hints they have throughout the show about Vigilante being really, really fucked up character. Okay. And one was in the second episode, the post-credit scene was the scene where they're staking out the senator's house and Vigilante finds them, right? So it was a cut clip where Harcourt is like, to Vigilante, if you fuck this up, I will go and kill your entire family. And Vigilante goes, ha, too late. And I was like, what? And then there's another line in here where he goes, well, I don't have any emotions, so it didn't bother me about him being bullied. He says he doesn't have any emotions.
But he does.
But
he
he
clearly
does.
gets mad and jealous and stupid.
And then the most psychotic bit of dialogue where when we find out butterflies can use any life form as a host, he goes, oh my God, a chihuahua? Wouldn't that be cool? And she goes, why? He goes, you tell me. And she goes, it wouldn't. And he goes, there's your answer. And just starts laughing. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? He's
clearly demented for sure.
He is just very dangerous and can snap at any moment. It makes it fascinating.
He's not walking around with a limp anymore.
No.
I guess that pinky
It
toe.
grew back.
It's fine.
It's not as bad as it
It's
needs
just
to be.
a
as
flesh
you thought it would
wound.
be.
It's only a flesh wound. Let's continue. But otherwise, a very enjoyable, entertaining episode. Like I said, there's 3 episodes left. James Gunn has confirmed that he is working on another Suicide Squad spinoff.
Oh, shit.
For HBO Max. He says he says it's connected to this universe, and he says it won't be the same genre as Peacemaker. It won't be as much a comedy as Peacemaker, but it will be in the same universe. Do we want to guess? Who do we think?
Bloodsport.
Well, there's been rumors of Bloodsport.
Mate. Oh, not that one.
Not the good one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bloodsport. So in this article, it says Idris Elba's schedule right now probably won't allow it, so they're discounting Bloodsport. Also, Margot Robbie is busy.
It's one person left then.
Who is that?
Ratcatcher.
Ratcatcher too. That's exactly right. That's who they think the show. And I mean, she was kind of interesting. You could do cool flashback stuff with Taika Waititi.
Oh.
Would you want a Ratcatcher?
I mean, she's
TV
cute,
show?
but that's about it. Yeah.
You know, that power, actually, by the end of that movie, the power is very useful and very powerful. I was like, holy shit, I guess it does help to control all the rats.
If there's a story that James Gunn would latch onto, it's doing something with Ratcatcher, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's probably. I would love Polka Dot Man to come back to life. Dave, my buddy, vitiligo buddy, David Desmalchian.
He did.
But he's dead. So, also another on a podcast, James Gunn talking to what podcast was this?
Jock and Nerd podcast.
No, it was Deadline's
What?
Hero Nation podcast. He has confirmed he's shooting Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 right now, which Myrn is in. He has said that this is the last time people will see this team of Guardians. This is the end for us. And I'm wondering if he's really enjoying working over at Warner Brothers and making like R-rated stuff and just wants to stay there. But what do you guys think of that? The one last Guardians of the Galaxy 3, is he going to kill everyone? Is it going to be, they're going to end it out or just switch out?
Are we going to get to see Vance Astro finally?
Well, you will see Adam Warlock.
Who's Vance Astro?
Vance was like original Guardians.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the Avengers, the team has had a bunch of different people on Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I think. I don't think it's necessarily that he likes working with DC. I'm sure he does. I think he's probably just done with the story.
Yeah,
he's had a 3-movie arc and then with Avengers appearances, and I think it's time. I think 3 movies is a good way to maybe kill off some guys and move in a different direction. And Marvel's obviously moving into the phase 4, and
right.
They're not necessarily going to rely on all the old characters. So I think it's just a natural conclusion to his story.
They're going to have to bring a whole new roster anyway. All these people are like, I'm done with this. Well, they want to move on. So
so obviously we
Batista's
know
been openly
yes.
like wanting to leave and do other things.
He wants to be on the set of Dune pacing around in another costume. So
oh yeah, what did he say about Dune? We talked about that. He was basically like,
I'm doing real work in Dune, not just walking around in makeup.
He had 2 lines.
I'm not just walking around in makeup. Wait a minute. What did we see on screen, Mr. Batista? We think we saw you walk around in makeup.
He's like, just wait till the second one. I get to do a lot more.
I say a lot more.
But we know when James Gunn got fired initially from Disney and then rehired later, Batista was, one of his big supporters. Yeah, he's shit talking Disney all the time. Also read Bradley Cooper is done playing Rocket, and I think you're right. I think it's time. The 3rd movie, close out the team, kill some
by the
people.
time this movie comes out, this will be, I believe, the 6th appearance because I think a lot of those characters are in Thor and Love and Thunder, too.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be like
you'll have 6 movies with these guys, and I think, a lot of them are good actors and want to do other things. Chris Pratt, I don't know what he's going to do. He's probably going to play himself in other movies, but
he's got Jurassic Park. He's got some other things he could do, and
I just haven't seen him act in any other way than being Chris Pratt.
We'll be back to adult Groot again, and the circle will complete itself.
What will Vin Diesel do? That's the real question.
Oh, he's just going to be begging.
He's going to be Black Bolt.
Oh yeah,
he could be Black Bolt.
Yeah,
that's a rumor.
He would make a good Black Bolt.
That's a rumor right there.
He's going to keep sending messages to The Rock publicly, trying to apologize.
Yeah, he's going to beg The Rock to keep coming back to his movie and looking like an idiot. I'm sorry, Vin. I'm sure you're not an idiot.
Anyways, we got a lot more James Gunn fun stuff. 2023 is when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is coming out.
So we got 3 episodes left.
3 episodes left of this.
Let's just we haven't been rating it, but so far, just what do we think of the show? Do we obviously we all seem to like it, but if we had to give it a rating right now, we never do this, but let's do it.
Mid show rating.
Yeah, not even mid.
Not
we're
mid,
halfway through.
Three quarter show rating. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 right now. I'm enjoying the show.
8 out of 10. What about you, Ruggs?
I probably would do like a 8 out of 10 too. Yeah, I'm enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I hate when we all agree, but I'll go 8 as well. Yeah, I think it's good.
I give it 2 geek boners.
Geek boner. I mean, I can get critical on it, but there's nothing else on.
This is true.
Really.
Yeah.
There's nothing else on. It does tickle, a lot of little fancies in and out. Like you got the comedy, you got a little action, you got just. I love, inappropriate humor. It's one of my. If you're gonna have it, you might as well do that kind of humor. And when all is said and done, it does expand the DC universe, so it is good for comics too. So it's hitting all those little bases.
I think what also helps is that we've had this string of Marvel shows,
right?
And they've all been, solid, but it's just so unequivocally not Marvel.
Yes,
that it also is just it has that appeal of kind of sticking the middle finger, like, hey, you safe motherfuckers, we're doing Peacemaker. We're going to talk about finger banging with your pinky.
Everything. They just talk about everything. I mean, it's a great adult action comedy.
I mean, it's like The Boys is the only thing that's on TV that's like it.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
The Boys and Invincible, really.
Yeah. But live action.
In terms of like the tone and the bloodiness.
The violence and just the don't give a fuck.
Dialogue.
Yeah.
Although Invincible is a little bit more serious, but still.
I mean, this is even less serious than The Boys. And I was thinking about how it matches up to their other comic book shows. Like Doom Patrol is great, but Doom Patrol is so fantasy, really, and wacky. This is way more grounded, so it's just a little more relatable. Like Doom Patrol is super weird. So
yeah, Wait a minute, you're related to you find some relatability to these characters?
I relate to Adebayo.
You're definitely at Economos.
I'm Economos. I totally relate to John Economos. The fucking guy can't catch a break, but finally comes
and
through.
it's not because of his weight. It's just the
dye
overall
beard.
yeah,
It's
the
dye
personality.
beard. And I also make really shitty PowerPoint presentations. I hate PowerPoint. It's the worst fucking thing.
He's like, what did the vigilante say? He's like, it looks like that monkey and the man are
We
friends.
want to be friends. Also, that 11th Street group, I like when she made a group text group, 11th Street Kids. That exists in real life also with the actors. Like Jennifer Holland posted on Twitter her group text with all the actors. That's 11th Street Kids. So
how about your boy Vigilante responding with the mermaid emoji?
what the fuck was that? And he goes, what did he say? He goes, it's holistic.
Yeah, that's what Peacemaker says
It's
when he
merman.
asked him.
What does the merman mean? Is there a meaning for it?
I've maybe used it once, and only because I thought it was funny to just respond with a mermaid.
Eggplant, merman, piece of shit.
Do they all mean something, or are they some of them just what they are? These emojis.
I think they're all slowly gaining meaning. I mean, we know the cap is cap lie. I learned that P is playa, which means like you did a really good job, like you're doing awesome.
Oh, it's a whole nother fucking
I know what
language.
eggplant is and apricots are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know those two. Those are pretty obvious. But
What about the peach? Do you guys know what the peach is?
that's what
That's
he
what
I
I
think
meant,
that
I think.
peach, not the apricot. Same
Yeah,
thing.
apricots.
Fuzzy fruit. It's fuzzy.
Yeah.
Anyways, good shit. I'm excited for the next episode. Listener, check out our TeePublic shop. You can buy a Jock and Nerd t-shirt over at jockandnerd.com/shop, or a mug, or a laptop case, or a pillow. We have a lot of fun designs. You can put Rug Boy on your face and chest. We got face masks. Got a shout out listener and fellow podcaster Jamie Robinson he's Mr. Throwback Thursday of the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast, posted a photo in our Facebook group this week with him. He bought a new shirt. He bought the red Rug Boy approved shirt, and he says, "New hotness, the only show aside from my own that I rep in public." Damn straight.
Talking nerd.
Thank you, Jamie, for buying.
I look
and
great on you, by the way.
Look at Rugs. What do you think? People walking around with your likeness on their chest. How does that make you feel?
I think it'll scare small children everywhere.
That's
and I think
exactly
it's fun.
what it's
when I think
intended.
about that.
Yes.
When I just see, I just imagine this dude walking around like the mall or something, or wherever he is, Walmart or wherever he's going, and then some little kid just like, what the fuck is that?
Kids are just crying as he walks by and inexplicably break out into tears.
Like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Listen,
This is crazy.
It's an honor for you to be on Jamie's chest there. And thank you very much for buying it.
Thank you.
Somebody buy stuff. People buy more
I want to
stuff.
ride everyone. There's a pull right there.
Similar 5 o'clock shadow on both Rug Boy and Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there is some similarity there.
I'm not going to say there's full similarity because that's an insult. Jamie definitely doesn't look poor, whereas Rug Boy looks poor. You know,
Rug
like
Boy-
that,
But look how great my hair looks, though, even though I'm poor.
your hair does look great.
Yeah, it looks
but that's
amazing.
because you've been sleeping. Like that's just permanent, like trash can head.
Yeah, it's natural bed head.
Yeah,
It looks.
yeah.
It's always in style.
Yeah, like people put stuff in their hair to look like they just woke up out of bed, but that's how I always
that's
look.
no
Yeah,
problem.
that's just the natural
Yeah,
oils
there's no product in there.
that
It's
haven't
all-
been washed out
No.
in at least 3 to 5 years.
I'm surprised you don't have dreadlocks by now, Rugs. That would be
It
great.
doesn't do that. I tried.
But Jamie doesn't look poor.
I wanted to appropriate, and I couldn't do it.
All right, let's take a break here. We're going to play some promos and come back and get to the next chapter of the Book of Boba Fett right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
I'm Imran.
And I'm Sophia.
I'm the brother.
And I'm the sister. And we are watching a show about cousins.
We're your hosts for Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast.
We grew up watching the 80s hit sitcom, and now we'd like you to join us every week as we rediscover our love for our favorite TV cousins, Balky and Larry.
You can find our show at danceofjoypod.com and on all major podcast platforms. Now we are so happy, Sophia. We do the Dance of Joy.
Imran, this is a podcast. They can't see us.
Oh,
What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Throwback Thursday from the Mr. Throwback Thursday podcast. Along with my co-host, Bill. Every Thursday, we bring you classic hip hop.
Classic. Straight classic.
You know, all the good stuff, the stuff that you forgot about, the golden age, pre-golden age, back to the original era.
For all the pioneers, I'm going way back, way back, way back.
Each week we bring you hip hop headlines, so we let you know what's going on with your favorite artists from back in the day. We bring you Wu News. We dedicate an entire segment just to the Wu-Tang Clan every week.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
We bring you 2 records. One is a one and done. One is a record of the week. We give you an artist of the month. We give you all the classics.
Classic. Straight classic.
Come and check us out. Every week we're on iTunes, Stitcher, and at MrThrowbackThursday.com. And if you remember nothing else, always remember, new school stale, old school fresh.
Doc and Nerd.
Listener, if you enjoy the Jock and Nerd podcast, you should consider joining our fan club over on Patreon. Just visit jockandnerd.com/Patreon. There's a link in the show notes.
Jock and Nerd.
And it's a way you can support the show, and you get stuff like a bonus feed, a bonus podcast feed with bonus content. Shows come out early and a bunch of other things. Gotta say a huge thank you. We got a returning patron, you guys.
Oh, shit.
Huge thank you to listener and returning Patreon supporter Brian Goff. He's back. You guys may remember Brian Goff. He was in our Facebook group. He got off of Facebook a while ago just because it's fucking Facebook, and sometimes you just got to not be on it because it'll make you crazy. But he runs a Parks and Rec meme Instagram page called Parks and Rec's Memes. Also has a Parks and Rec podcast called Citizens of Pawnee, and he's been listening for a long time. So, Brian, thank you for jumping back on the fucking...
Thanks for jumping back on.
The
Oh
Geek
my
Wagon.
God.
Oh, my God. And Brian, speaking of oh, my God, now gets Discord benefits. He signed up for $5 a month, which means he can join us on our monthly Discord hangout. What's up? What's happening over there? Are you okay? You choking on something?
No.
I'm laughing.
He's laughing.
Because you guys did that shit.
He's laughing at me doing the oh my God thing.
The oh, my God. Got him, yes. Popular meme with the kids these days, what I hear. I will have a drop of that.
Oh my God!
I haven't heard Rug Boy Belly laugh like that in a really long time.
It's been a while, yeah. I usually do my fake laugh.
You were laughing so much that it distracted Imran.
I started snorting because I was trying to stop myself from laughing.
I thought he was choking.
Yeah.
I was concerned.
I
Anyway,
started snorting.
Brian and everyone else on our Patreon page who supports us $5 a month and above can join us on
No
our
one knows
next
what we're talking about.
Discord hangout. It will
It
be
doesn't matter.
Thursday, February 24th, 8 p.m. America time, Central America.
America time.
Central
What is
America.
America time?
Central time in America.
There's a few time zones out here.
Yeah.
We're
All right.
doing it at 12:30 Russia time.
I'm doing it at 8 p.m. You got to guess what time zone it is. I'm not going to tell you. Good luck. Anyways, thank you to all our patrons. We really appreciate your support. It keeps the show going. Covers some of the overhead.
Thank you very much.
It's the best thing. It's the best thing. You guys are great. All right, let's get to the next review, and it is the book of Boba Fett, Chapter 5. Here is your spoiler alerts. I'm going to do this one this way.
Come on, baby. Do the magic hand thing.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time.
This one, Chapter 5, titled Return of the Mandalorian.
Geek boner.
And there's a
Once
reason.
again, Return of the Mando. Once again.
Yeah. Return of the Mac.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Now that's going to be stuck in my head.
Great line delivery.
You've derailed the show again.
The reason I put this episode in the second half of the show, this review, is I think there's a lot more to discuss with episode
Agreed.
5 of Boba Fett than there is in Peacemaker. This one written by Jon Favreau, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, who did 2 episodes of Mandalorian, and they're 2 very good episodes. She is
Ron Howard's daughter.
Ron Howard's daughter. She is good at directing. She knows her Star Wars.
She is whatchamacallit? She played Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3.
Oh, that's right.
And was she Sarah Connor too, or Sir?
No.
She was.
No, she was John Connor's wife.
Oh, yeah, she was a
in
Connors.
Terminator. She also ran away from a Tyrannosaurus Rex in heels.
Yes, she did. It's hard to do, but she managed to
She
pull it
was the
off.
lady in the water too.
Yeah. And there was a great episode of Black Mirror that she was in also.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard, super talented. Anthony, what happens in Chapter 5, Return of the Mandalorian?
Doe?
Mando.
Yeah, I mean, was this episode 5, right?
This is episode 5, Chapter 5.
Episode 5, or as I like to call it, episode 1 of season 3 of Mandalorian.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, this episode is... The show is called Book of Boba Fett, but there is absolutely no Boba Fett in this episode.
Zero Boba Fett.
This is basically a continuation of where we left off in season 2 of Mandalorian. And Mando, it's all focused on Mando, Din Djarin. He is without Grogu, and he's a little bit more brutal now that he's without Grogu. He's back to being a mercenary, but he still wants to get back to Grogu, and he's also trying to find his people. And this whole episode is about him finding his people again, learning a little bit more about the history. He's got the Darksaber, so that's going to cause a little bit of tension.
Oh, yeah.
We learn a lot about the Mandalorian peoples as a whole and where they are and how they've gotten there and a little bit of their lore. And along with that, he wants to get back to Grogu. So he's trying to find a way to get back to Grogu, and he goes to Tatooine and is basically building a ship to take him back to Grogu. So...
Yeah, and then Fennec Shan finds him and it's like, you need a job, and he's like, I'm in, and that's all we get from the show.
That's like we get 20 seconds from like the other show that this is affiliated with.
Well, there's two things going on here that are interesting to me. There's number one, this whole kind of dichotomy between what the fuck is a Mandalorian and who are in this religious sect that he's kind of trying to ingratiate himself to. We all know, if you're like a Clone Wars watcher or a Rebels watcher, that Mandalorians are not, indicative of this kind of mask always on, helmet always on sect that have all these rules.
Not all of them, right?
This is some kind of old school religious sect.
It's Orthodox Mando.
Yeah, I guess. So I think that if he went back to Mandalore and saw that that's not the case of what a Mandalorian, that's not necessarily what a Mandalorian is, I think he would feel more free, I guess. He wouldn't feel so confined to try and please these people. And then they reject him. They said, oh, you took off your helmet. You can no longer become a Mandalorian unless you go to Mandalore and you stick your head in some like water that's underneath all the fucking mines and shit.
Yep, he's got to bathe in the thing.
So he's got to get Grogu. He wants to see Grogu. He wants to visit his kid. And then I guess the next thing he's going to have to do in the actual series is go and take this bath.
Yeah. He's got to redeem himself.
But yeah, that's pretty much, they're setting up season 3. Like, we're going to see Mandalore, and we see it, I think, for the first time in live action. You see moments like the Night of 1,000 Tears. You see them blowing up the Mandalorian capital. You do get a lot of history. Anthony, did you follow? You followed all the history in the first half, because they put so much shit in this episode. There's so many Easter eggs.
Talk about the Vizslas.
Yeah.
I for the most part I did. There's obviously that old school way of thinking. It looks like they got bombed out by TIE fighters.
Yeah.
They had some sort of kind of alliance with the Jedis, I believe, or there was a Mandalorian that became a Jedi.
Yes.
I like the dichotomy of the Jedi being, when they become Jedi, be like cutting all bonds, but the Mandalorians are all about loyalty. It looks like they're building into some of the history of the black saber, and it looks like what's her name, Bo-Katan, is going to be maybe a kind of a threat to Mando, because she obviously wants that Darksaber, and there's that whole history of her acquiring the Darksaber, but not by combat.
Right, she was gifted the Darksaber.
Yeah, what I think was good about this episode, other than the fact that it's basically a Mandalorian episode, is Mando's history is just so much cooler, and there's so much more to mine, whereas Boba Fett has just been living off the fact that he's Boba Fett, and they're trying to build that history around him.
Yeah.
But from what I've gathered, the stuff they've established in Clone Wars and other mediums, there's just so much more to mine. And it makes for a much more interesting character, and it makes for a lot of different things they can do. Plus, Mando's in a space where he's kind of like lost without Grogu. Like, he had found basically an identity with Grogu. He wasn't just a Mandalorian, a bounty hunter. He had found
Purpose.
Connection to someone, a purpose, and now he's lost without that purpose, and he's trying to, just check on the child, and all of that's really interesting. Like, I really like this episode. First off, and the reason you can tell I like this episode is I remember most of it.
Yeah.
And I think this episode shows like just kind of like the dichotomy between what's working in Mandalorian and what isn't working in Boba Fett. Mandalorian, there was a part where I genuinely laughed when Mando's hanging out with the lady that's helping him build the ship.
Kelly Motto, yeah, she's great.
Yeah, there's just a lot like. Whereas Boba Fett, you've got two pretty wooden characters as the main characters. You have him and Fennec Shand, so there isn't like a lot of lightheartedness with that show. And this episode completely succeeds because there's just no Boba Fett. And Boba Fett's like, once you get into this story, I literally by the end of this was like, yeah, let's just get into Mandalorian season 3. I give no shits about the rest of this Boba Fett show.
Fuck that show.
Is it a problem that possibly the best episode of a show called The Book of Boba Fett does not feature the Boba Fett?
Look, the directing is a big part of it.
Yes, did so good.
And the budget for this episode was huge.
Yeah.
The directing in Boba Fett has not been the greatest. There's been a lot of Robert Rodriguez episodes that are kind of lackluster. And there was a couple that was okay here and there. But for the most part, you could see the change in the direction, how it's handled, how the moments are handled, how there's little moments in when he's got to like take his guns off and put him into a thing.
That's great too, yeah.
Or he's sitting on a train, a lot of these things are just like, they're not action sequences, but they're just directed better. The shots and how it's handled is better. Like I remember he's taking his stuff off and he's like looking around and he's just like kind of like he's like antsy. He's like looking around as he's taking the stuff off.
He has to take a commercial flight, which is hilarious. And when he has to check his weapons and he puts the fucking Darksaber in there, I'm like, what are you doing? Don't check the Darksaber. But nothing happened. Like, I think they wanted you to think someone was going to steal it, but it wasn't. It was
I think it was just a nice little scene that just kind of makes it more relatable.
Right.
Like, he has to check in stuff.
Yeah.
And then he gets on the flight.
Doesn't have a ship.
And the alien kid is like staring at him. And everyone's had a kid that stares at him, but for him, it means more, right? Like, it's funny, but it also reminds him of Grogu.
Yeah.
So I think it was very well directed. I wrote down too that this episode finally put the star back in Star Wars again.
Oh shit!
Because this episode had like very different locales. That fucking ring was so cool.
We were just talking about Halo. It's like a Halo world. It's a ring planet structure. And it was great to get off Tatooine. Absolutely. We saw some new places. I mean, I love the beginning when he shows up like he just showed up at the beginning of Mandalorian, just a silhouette behind the fucking plastic pieces. And then he does the thing that we've all wanted to see this in the show the whole time. He's just slaughtering dudes, cutting them in half.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Chopping heads off.
Holy shit.
I don't get why they can have him cut people in half with the Darksaber and cut his own leg accidentally. And you can show that.
He can't control
it. Then Boba Fett is so sterilized when he fights.
Well, but Boba Fett is he's a different person, and he's 61 years old. But he's he's changed. He's on a different trajectory, but now he needs a guy like this.
I just think that the interesting Boba Fett was the young Boba Fett.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always think about that. Yeah.
Like a prodigy, like a pirate.
Get that show. Make a fucking young Boba Fett show.
Well, I read an article on The Ringer, and I agreed with it. I think a lot of the issue with Boba Fett is they touch on these themes that could be potentially interesting. Like, for instance, ever since Bib Fortuna has been gone, the streets have gone to shit,
right?
And like, there's a lot of poverty. But then, like, they mention that
they don't show anything.
But they don't show it. Like, you show the biker gang, and it doesn't look like they're necessarily all that poor.
Right.
Yet they're like, oh, we don't have any work. And like, you don't show, you have that scene where the guy's like, oh, the streets are like chaos without you. No one respects you.
Yes.
But then there is no, like, he walks around the streets and everyone's just milling around their business like it's a normal day. Like, you could get into for instance, the stuff with the Tusken Raiders. Like, you could get into, okay, like, his main motivation, his stated motivation is he's tired of being a pawn and he wants to rule. That's okay. But what if, like, you did these flashbacks and the Tusken Raiders, you find out that the Tusken Raiders were slaughtered because there's this crime syndicate in Tatooine led by Bib Fortuna, and, like, basically his entire family of Tusken Raiders was taken from him because of how deep the seeds of crime is in Tatooine, and that gives him an actual motivation to go, oh, like, there's some, like, deep shit here that I need to uncover, and, like, for it to, like, really change, I need to lead this. Yeah. But instead his motivation's like, I'm tired of being a pawn. I'm going to lead now. Oh, okay. Well, what's the point of the flashbacks with the Tusken Raiders? Like, that doesn't really actually motivate that character to lead. He's just like, he was always going to do that.
And then present storyline wise, 5 episodes in, very little has actually happened.
Yeah, and like this show, that they didn't, like, the flashbacks were just, in hindsight now, just such a bad move. Like, this episode, no flashbacks, moves at the show's like 48. This episode's like 48 minutes, moves at a really good pace, lots of depth, lots of very good direction, funny at times. Like, I'm just surprised that these are the same creators of Mandalorian, right? And that are doing Boba
I think they just shot themselves in the foot. I think that what they did was that they created Mandalorian, and then without thinking about Boba Fett, or maybe trying to replace Boba Fett, and then realizing that they could get Boba Fett back, it felt like a wasted effort. Like, they don't need it. It's like moot. Like, you already have the Mandalorian. You don't need Boba Fett anymore.
Right. I agree with that.
It's like, and then they're stuck with, like, okay, how do we make them different? But you're making them different in all the ways that it's not interesting. So it's just weird. I mean, Boba Fett got the raw deal here.
Yeah, I agree.
So there you go.
I agree. I think Boba Fett, everything they're doing with Mandalorian, they could have just easily thrown Boba Fett's helmet on, and it would have been like, oh, like, this is now, like, Boba Fett's even more cool. But they did that with Mandalorian instead.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed the flashbacks, but it could have been told in like 1 or 2 episodes. It went on too long, leaving no time for, the story to progress.
Well, and the flashbacks they were just so jarring. Like, they never, whenever you do a flashback,
it didn't inform
it's supposed to relate to the story in present day, and it felt like 2 just different stories being told at the same time.
So
and the present day story wasn't as interesting as the flashback.
No, it wasn't. A couple other things I love about the first half is the details of that the armor melts down his spear, and she makes something for Grogu, and then gives him a little pouch that looks like fucking Baby Yoda. It's great. What do we think that is? It's
chainmail.
Is it armor?
It's got to be armor.
It's very
right?
small though. It's a really small, like all the armor. He's small.
Well, doesn't she melt the Beskar spear and be like, these aren't Beskars that made for weapons?
Yes,
it's made for armor.
Yes. Yeah. And then she's like, what do you want me to make? He's like, something for my little buddy. So maybe he's going to get some armor. That'll be cool. And then the whole idea that the dark spear is hard to control. It gets heavier if you fight it. The dark saber.
That's established in the Clone Wars.
That's kind of cool seeing that, though, practically.
And he hurts himself with it.
Yeah, he cut himself accidentally, and he's challenged for it. And then that's when we find out that, I love that she's like, have you removed your helmet? And he goes, well, sort of.
I did find it funny. I wrote this down. I go, after that battle, and it seems like they'd spent, some time at, like maybe, I don't know, an hour and a half. Who knows how much time. Yeah. But she finally goes, after the battle, she thinks to herself, maybe I should ask him if he's ever removed his helmet.
Kind of an important thing.
What made, but it was like, what made her think to even ask that?
I just don't understand that if she even has the ability to fucking tell him shit. He's got the sword. He's the automatic Mandalore,
ruler, right?
isn't he?
He defeated.
Yeah, well, you tell us, isn't he?
He should be, according to their he possesses the Darksaber.
Yeah. That's a good. I actually didn't think of that. Yeah. How can she tell him to leave if he's the ruler of Mandalore?
Because he's a little bitch. He doesn't.
well,
I don't know.
That explains it.
He just takes her word for everything. He's chosen to listen to these Mandalorians.
Yeah.
I like that history though. Like, it was one of the things I went, oh, like, this is actually something that can be mine and actually makes me interested in the show.
Yeah, I want to see him go to Mandalore. That's going to be dope.
Well, I like that, just the dichotomy of there being different, like, Mandalorians that believe they can take off the helmet, and then obviously Bo-Katan felt like she was the ruler and she didn't have to win it in battle.
But then he does defeat Moff Gideon, who we find out is just he's in jail and he's about to be tried. So
and they're pissed because they're like, you should have brought him here.
Right.
And he was like, oh yeah, he'll die for his crimes. And they're just like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They're not going to kill him.
no, he's gonna walk. They're gonna let him go. That always happens. And then the second half is Mando going to Tatooine, flying commercial, and we see Peli Motto. Amy Sedaris is so funny. I love this whole scene where the montage where he's helping her build the ship.
I could have done without it.
You didn't like
personally.
that?
No, I thought it was a waste of time.
It was. I agree that it was a long construction of the ship.
I mean, there's a lot of Easter eggs to like Phantom Menace and the original movie and Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah, but this ship is not even like a ship that you should have if you're a bounty hunter.
This Naboo starfighter from the Phantom Menace is not a very practical ship for a bounty hunter. Like, where is he going to put his bounty? Where you need a place to put your stuff.
Is this supposed to signal that he's no longer a bounty hunter?
Like, where's he going to put Grogu when he gets him? And if he catches somebody, like, you need a big ship.
Well,
like
he's
the
got
Razor
like a
Crest.
little pod for an R2D2 to
But
go.
they
and
took
he's
that
not
out.
going.
Yeah, they took out the droid parts. I also love how like
Well, that's where Grogu's going to sit.
that's where he could sit. But I love how they hot rodded it. Like the engine is above, like in a hot rod car.
No, the ship looks cool. I just don't think it's the right ship for him. But like, I think that ship's going to be gone by the end of this episode.
It might blow up again.
I mentioned it earlier, but the line where she goes, "I've dated
Oh my
a
God,
Java
this is
before."
great.
They're very furry, and then she like smacks her lip. Very furry.
And then do you notice the Jawa goes, and I think he said, "Hey, you want to come back to my place later?" And she's like, "No, thanks. I'm working on myself right now." Like, I think the Jawa tried to ask her out, and she just brushed him off. And she goes, "Furry, quite furry."
Very furry.
Is she below? Is she below the Jawa? What is going on here?
The thing with her lips, I'm like, oh my God. She's had that fur in her
funny.
mouth.
Also, you notice Mando works well with droids now. That's a BD droid from the video game Jedi Fallen Order. That's in that game. And he's like, "Thanks, little buddy." And I was like, "Oh, he works good with droids."
That ship that they built, is that the ship that Anakin rode in Phantom Menace? Or one of the kind of ships he rode?
It's a pod racer type ship. In fact, when he takes the thing out, he does part of the route from the movie, Beggar's Canyon. You can even see the gate that Anakin crashed through in Phantom Menace is still crashed and open.
Question then. Could that ship, when Anakin was riding it in Phantom Menace, I thought I had interpreted that as like a desert ship. Was he able to take that to space too, or did they retrofit it to take it to space?
No, all of the in the Phantom Menace, all of the good guys, they didn't have X-wing fighters. They had those.
They had
okay.
That's a starfighter.
Yeah, those all went through space, but
those all could go.
But
through space.
you
I
notice
didn't remember that.
she added like a nitro boost, like a Fast and Furious fucking nitro boost to the ship.
The Jedi basically pull them over, and
the space cops, yes, the X-wing Republic,
the old Asian guy, right?
Yeah, Paul Lee returns as Captain Tiva. I love that.
Where did I see him before?
He's in Kim's Convenience, and he was on Mandalorian.
No.
He was on
Star Wars stuff.
He was in the first season of Mandalorian with Gina Carano. Remember Gina Carano?
He asked her to be a part of the team.
Yes,
or whatever, right?
and then she got fired, and she tweeted shit, and then she got canceled. Yeah. But it was great seeing him, and he kind of recognized them and let him go because they're like, "Turn on your thing," and then he just fucking.
I don't think they let him go. He
took off.
He took off, and then they're like, "Well, yeah, we're not going to report this
It's
one."
like, "You want to do paperwork?" No. But it's just funny. He gets harassed by the cops, and she says that ship is off the grid. It doesn't need a docking ring to go into hyperspace. It's got all sorts of bells and whistles. It's fucking fast. I love that scene where he was flying around. Oh, yeah, he gets hassled for his title and registration, which I think is hilarious. Still, in Star Wars, the cops pull you over, and they're like, "Title and registration, please."
It is inconvenient for them.
And then he comes back, more Phantom Menace. When he comes back, and she's like, "How was it?" He just goes, "Wizard," that was pretty great.
One of the kids says that in Phantom Menace.
That was like a term they use, slang term for the kids. And then at the end, he goes, I'm in. You don't have to pay me. It's on the house. I got to pay a visit to a little friend. Is Luke Skywalker also going to show up? Is Grogu still with Luke?
He hates Boba Fett.
Oh, he does. That's right. He doesn't know, that he's changed. Yeah, they were enemies.
Who was remind me again, Ruggs? There was a Mandalorian that became a Jedi.
Yeah, that was Tar Vizsla. That was a long time ago.
A lot of the references that they mentioned in this show, is that a lot of stuff they touched on in Clone Wars?
They don't really show you it. They talk about it like in exposition.
Okay.
There's like a couple of scenes where they go to a statue of him and they talk about the legend, so.
And that other dude, his name was Paz Vizsla. He was related to, he's the Vizsla family, so that's why he challenged him.
Yeah, it's kind of like the house. There's different houses on Mandalore. Like there's like the House Atreides and the House Harkonnen.
Oh yeah, there's the Kryze, like Bo-Katan is the Kryze family, and the
Yes.
What was the significant? So when a Mandalorian became a Jedi, was there like an alliance between the Jedis and the Mandalorians?
Yeah, it brought them together because initially the Mandalorians were basically, against the Jedi, and they had all of their weaponry to kind of counteract the Jedi.
Right. Okay.
So it makes the perfect Jedi counterattacks. You have like the flamethrower; they can't really do much with that. You can fly. You have the grappling hook to grab them so they can't get out of the way, and then you have the armor that can repel.
Beskar,
lightsaber.
Yeah, Beskar lightsabers can't cut through Beskar, but Beskar can cut through Beskar. Apparently,
were Mandalorians before their planet got destroyed? Were they bounty hunters before that, or is this because?
No,
they got
I think
their
that's
planet
what's happened. They were just like a Spartans, like the war race. Like they were like very militant, and basically like the Spartans or whatever, like the advanced military, and. Then there was like a change where they started to like become more diplomatic, and they started to like deal with people and be part of like the whole space confederacy and all that stuff. And you had more like diplomatic stuff.
It's like a 10,000-year history. The Mandalore
And
has.
then why did they get bombed out with the TIE fighters?
They got bombed out because they were not playing well with the Empire.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Was it the Republic at the time? Is that what they called it? Or the Empire is the Republic or no?
No, I think it was the Republic became the Empire, right?
Got it.
So
That was the Night of
I
a Thousand
think that-
Tears.
yeah.
Right. All right. Yeah, I was trying to like place it all in my head.
No, I believe all of that is from Rebels and Clone Wars. Like all it tracks.
Like all of this happens around the time of like I would say before Star Wars, the first one, before like in between Order 66 happens in Attack of the Clones, and then all of a sudden all this shit is going down, and I think that's when I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going off
memory.
of yeah.
It is a long and crazy history that the Mandalorians have, though. But like you said, Anthony, there's a lot of things to mine in this long history, that makes it exciting.
Yeah, it seems to me, not to hate so much on Boba Fett, but I'm gonna. Like I feel like Boba Fett, they were just kind of riding the wave of how popular he was, and whereas the Mandalorian, they actually had to do the work.
Yeah. But the thing
And
is
it
that
shows.
Boba Fett is the catalyst for the Mandalorian. Like
True.
That's true. Right.
Like the fact that they created this character that had so much mystery to it, and then they had to come up with all this lore, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, the Boba Fett movie gets canceled, and then this comes out of it. This is all like basically, and then Boba Fett gets left with the scraps. It's like, it's kind of disappointing for Boba
like
Fett.
you said, they did Boba Fett in Mandalorian. Like they did it better. Josh Trank was going to do the movie. I think that's why it fell through, because it was Josh Trank.
I wonder if well, we still have a couple episodes, but I wonder if this story would have been better as a movie for about Boba Fett. Because not every show, not every movie is supposed to be a show, and not every show.
They
can be
could have
movie.
done a Disney Plus movie for Boba Fett, and that's not bad. Yeah, that would have been good.
They had originally decided they were going to do like similar to Solo and Rogue One, like Boba Fett was the next one, and then they were also going to do Obi-Wan, like an Obi-Wan movie.
Also,
now that's going to
I think give Bryce Dallas Howard a fucking Star Wars movie. Give her a trilogy. Let's let her she's so good. She gets it.
What other episodes of Mandalorian she did?
She did. I gotta look
She did
this
the
up
one
now.
where Mando like had like a girlfriend almost on that in the rice patties or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. But yeah, that one was a good
They
one.
stopped the rivals from.
That was kind of weak, but then the next one that she did was a little bit better.
She did Chapter 4, Sanctuary, Chapter 11, The Heiress. What was The Heiress? Where Mandalorian braves high seas and meets unexpected. Oh, that's where Bo-Katan shows up. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people like that
Yeah, and
one.
Sasha Banks. Remember Sasha Banks was in it.
Yeah.
That was a great. She gets it. She's good. Her direction is so good.
Yeah, those
it
were
was very
grit.
good.
That one was gritty. It was dark. It had a very cool feel to it.
Yeah, a lot like
And-
this episode.
Yeah, and it continues here.
I like the way they shot the stuff in the rings. Like I thought the whole ring planet concept was amazing. Like I was just so intrigued by that, and the way it's shot in like when they're in the basement of the rings.
Even like when you see the shot where the sun is coming through, there's like an opening so that people have nighttime and daytime as the fucking thing rotates. Like, oh, it was so cool. I wanted to go there.
Even like the little battle, even though it's funny that they still don't have handrails
I was
on
going to
these
say
bridges.
they battle on a platform with no fucking railings again, as they do in Star Wars.
Are they trying to kill each other? That was one of my questions.
That's how you got to defeat the person to get the fucking Darksaber. I think Paz Vizsla was going to kill him.
Yeah. You fight to the
And
death.
she stopped him.
But then she stopped Mando won.
Yeah.
And then she stopped it.
Mando was about to win. He had the upper hand
Yeah.
after getting beat, and he finally had the upper hand. And then she asked him about the helmet and stopped it.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad that they're doing Mandalorian hopefully it sounds like by the end of the year. But it made me much more excited for Mandalorian than for Boba
Well,
Fett.
I mean, this episode got me excited for the last 2 episodes of Boba Fett. Now,
Yeah, I guess Mando will be there,
Yeah.
right?
So, does this pique your interest in a Tar Vizsla movie?
learning about the Mandalorian who became a Jedi.
'Cause I think that's
Yeah.
the crux of all of these things kind of colliding, right?
That could be like a
Oh, that should definitely
that'd be like a
movie.
Game of Thrones type story with the
Like
That
the
would be
first
awesome.
Mandalorian, you
Yeah.
have this militant race that hates the Jedi, and then one of them becomes a Jedi.
that's cool.
And
That's interesting.
And then all of a sudden, this Darksaber comes about, and then that becomes like the sort of leadership for that whole nation. It's got a cool lore, almost like Arthurian lore to it. So
that would be a great idea. And Bryce,
I think that would be. I think that's a movie that needs to be
Bryce
made.
Dallas Howard should direct. The other Easter egg I love was that he asked when the Jawas come back and they bring him this pole that he asked for, and it's the same pole that Han and them used in the trash compactor in A New Hope while they were about to die, and he props the compactor open with this pole. It's the same exact prop. So I just loved all the Easter eggs. They had a lot of fucking deep cut Easter eggs throughout the episode. 2 episodes left, right? What do we think is going to happen? Let's not forget, he still has a Rancor to ride and use. We're going to get Mando and Grogu.
So Grogu knows how to do some shit now.
He must have some training. He's better use of his
They're
powers.
just going to roll in. You're not even going to see the whole him go get the Grogu. They're just going to roll in with the Grogu.
Oh, I mean, I think next episode it's going to go back to the Boba Fett storyline, yes, and then they'll just show up. But maybe the Hutts return. Who's actually, behind the Pikes is the other question. Is there a bigger enemy?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely setting up to be a battle. The only problem is I just don't care.
Nobody cares anymore.
You think it's going to be Khaleesi? Khaleesi's going to show up? I really don't give a shit.
Yes, Emilia Clarke will show up as the baby Kira, possibly
because the Pikes haven't been established as a modern threat.
yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to be scared
Crimson Dawn is that
Well,
group. Right.
Pike Syndicate is big in the cartoons. Crimson Dawn we established in Solo, the movie, which, by the way, I think Solo, in retrospect, is actually not too bad.
I've watched it a couple of times when it's been on, and it's of? I didn't think it. Remember, it had
I don't think it's a bad
Woody
movie.
Harrelson in the beginning was great. That whole train scene, and it had some cool shit.
I just think it's a little formulaic, where he just got all the stuff in one day.
I didn't think all that happened in like the span of a week. Is what I never imagined that. But
Well, in one movie, very quickly, it just felt like a little bit.
I mean,
too-
he gets the ship. He meets Chewie. He does the Kessel Run. He gets his name. Like all of the movie, but the movie,
all the greatest hits.
all the greatest hits. But the movie was not. The guy did a good job. It's not that bad. Thinking about it now. So, all right. Well, 2 episodes left. So let's do some news from the nation. Find out what the listeners thought. It's time for news from the nation. It's time for news from the nation.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
You ever like when you're in a stall and there's a guy next to you taking a shit and you make that noise, you just giggle. You can't help it. Like, it's just always a funny sound.
It's like air coming out of a balloon.
Just yeah.
Not.
All right. Daryl K says this is all comments about Book of Boba Fett. Daryl says, okay, so we got what most of us really wanted, more Mandalorian and no Boba Fett, +1 for that. On the other hand, this feels very Marvel, kind of wasting an entire episode of a short series on a side plot. I'm glad they did, though. It was fucking great. Daniel Liedl says, I must be in the minority. I have actually enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett. Also, was that a womp rat that the mechanic was dealing with in the hangar? Yes, Daniel, that's actually the first live action appearance of a womp rat that's been mentioned, referenced for years. I think it was in the first movie they mentioned a womp rat, but we never actually saw one. And they're big and they're nasty. Dion Robertson says, best episode so far. Ready to see Mando and Grogu in the future episodes. David Zika says there's only 2 episodes left. The season is a net disappointment, regardless of what happens. Some cool stuff, but mediocre in the end. Jimmy Graben says so many great references in this episode, including the appearance of BD-1. For anyone who has played Jedi Fallen Order, Favreau and Filoni really reward you for watching Clone Wars and Rebels and taking in content other than the main Skywalker saga. Did you see that rumor that they were planning to kind of erase the sequel trilogy? Favreau and Filoni are trying to figure out some way to just get rid of that, or I don't know how you would do it.
Why would you do that? So you can bring back characters that are dead?
Or you reboot.
Carrie Fisher's not here anymore.
Well, or you just redo those movies the right way.
But you can't because Carrie Fisher's dead.
Well, you wouldn't. But you have deep fake technology. We've seen it. Doesn't matter.
I think the point is that time has passed because, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill's still around, and you could give them a really good send off, and instead of just doing that, what they did to those characters, we just butchered them so badly. But how do you do that now? I mean, you could, but why even bother? We're moving on at this point.
Well, again, I also think in these last 2 episodes, they're going to do like a Luke Skywalker, some big cameo. They got to do something to save this shit. Something, they're going to pull out something big. I don't know who, but I think there's going to be one of these cameos. It kind of needs it at this point.
To the point of what you made about erasing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Star Wars would necessarily fully erase it. I mean, you could do maybe a timeline thing, but then you're doing a lot of what Marvel's doing.
Yeah.
To fully just not to erase the existence of those movies, that'd be like Star Wars basically taking the major L and laying it on their head for a little bit.
Yeah.
Although they kind of admitted they took an L by just making Rise of Skywalker and then in the opening credits just completely erasing.
Yes, what happened in the last movie.
That happened in the last movie,
Jedi.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, and I don't think they should, at some point when the technology is good enough, you can make a full CG movie with CG everybody and continue from Jedi on up until Rey is around. And you can tell that whole story. But before Ben Solo goes crazy and becomes Kylo Ren, you could have fucking Luke doing some badass shit. There's tons of adventures that he has, with Mara Jade and all that other shit that they could cover. So, and there's even, there's other opportunities for other, people to come along too that we haven't introduced yet.
Or do you do something like that Star Wars Vision anthology that just was all new characters, new stories, do you just do something that has no connection to anything? It's kind of its own thing. It's starting fresh in some other time.
No, I think that there's room for that too, but I think that was the thing with the Mando when they had Luke at the end of that.
Right.
It ignited all of this. Yes, this is what we wanted to see Luke Skywalker do this whole time.
Right. Yeah.
And so you could either bring those moments in, and have those moments happen in the shows, or you can do a movie.
Jamie Robinson, who bought a shirt we talked about earlier, he says Boba Fett has become the cousin Oliver of the Star Wars universe.
Oh, shit.
Great reference. Anthony, do you get that reference?
No.
This is a Brady Bunch reference?
Add a kid.
where the last season they added Cousin Oliver because everybody was getting old and there wasn't like a cute kid, so they just shoved a new cute kid and nobody liked it, and everybody hated fucking Cousin Oliver for no reason. There's just another kid. They got 6 fucking kids. There's just another kid. Greg can't get his own bedroom. He had to move into the attic. You're putting another kid in here. What is none of this makes sense. Greg Brady, fucking what was his name? Johnny Danger? Is that his name?
Johnny Bravo.
Johnny Bravo, yes. Old Johnny Bravo.
Oh, poor Cousin Oliver.
Yes, that's so essentially Boba Fett has been Cousin Oliver, like on the Brady Bunch. Jose Ibarra says, so based off the GIF that was made out of the spearhead, we can confirm the reports of Grogu being on set in a Beskar Cuban link and a pair of Tims.
Oh, shit.
I like this. And then Blake Braden goes, let's assume he's rocking a Yankee cap as well, and posted a picture. He posted a picture of Grogu with a Yankee cap. And then Jamie Robinson just brings it all around and says, I believe his name is now Grogu Face Killer. You get points for that. Grogu Face Killer is part of the Wu-Tang Clan. I hope Grogu's badass when he comes back in his little tiny armor and a fucking lightsaber or something. Be fucking dope. Anyways, great comments, guys. Thanks for interacting in the spoiler threads that I post. It makes me feel useful. Okay, let's just finish up with some What Are We Watching? Anthony, what have you been doing? What are you reading? You doing something?
I got a couple things. First off,
Okay.
you fucks probably don't care, but I've been watching football.
Oh, yes. I
Super
hear
Bowl
there's a
is
lot
coming
of,
How
around.
about them Chiefs?
a lot of good football happening.
Chiefs lost, actually, yesterday.
I know.
So I've been watching football. Joe Burrow is a great quarterback, and good for Matt Stafford to finally get to the Super Bowl. Should be
Is
an
this like
interesting
a
one.
upset on both sides, like a Super Bowl matchup no one really predicted?
I mean, no one definitely was going to predict this matchup. I wouldn't say the Rams are necessarily the most surprising because they have a ton of talent. But the Bengals, for sure, is kind of out of nowhere.
Nice.
But, Joe Burrow is their quarterback. He's only in his second year as a quarterback in the NFL, and he won a national championship 2 years ago, so he's pretty good. But
So
yeah,
no Tom Brady, and they're gonna have
No.
Snoop
No Tom
Dogg
Brady.
and Eminem and Dr. Dre. That's what I'm looking for.
It was crazy because the Chiefs had this amazing win right before.
yeah. Last week's game was one of
And
the best
then they
games ever.
started out the next game and they were kicking their ass.
Yep.
And then it was kind of like almost like karmic retribution.
Yeah, and if you follow the internet at all, a lot of people, unless you grew up in Missouri or Kansas City, a lot of people are rooting against the Chiefs simply because everyone hates Patrick Mahomes' wife.
Oh, his wife.
His
That's
wife
the reason.
and
Whoa.
his little brother, Jackson Mahomes.
Yeah, they don't like him either.
They don't like him. He's like 21 years old, and he just makes TikTok videos dancing on
God.
on the field. And everyone thinks him and Patrick Mahomes' wife are the most annoying people in the world. So
Oh shit!
the internet
Karma.
was very happy to see them
Karma, indeed.
lose.
I also love the Aaron Rodgers memes from the week before. That was fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, the internet doesn't like Aaron Rodgers.
No,
the
they
woke,
don't.
especially the woke crowd, they hate Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers. So that I'm watching football. I recently added on a new subscription service.
What? Which one?
I added on. I follow this guy on YouTube called Real Life Lore, and he explains a lot of. It's basically like an intelligent YouTube channel where they explain things that are going on in the world or why things are the way they are.
Huh.
And I followed that, and he was basically like, YouTube has these algorithms that disincentivize you to make like controversial videos. So he makes videos about like the modern day Israel Gaza conflict. So
okay.
he does these he does his own videos on this thing called Nebula.
Okay.
And I was able to get a bundle between it's called Curiosity Stream and the Nebula bundle. Curiosity Stream is like a lot of like documentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Nebula is a lot of like shorter YouTube created content or creator content that's
Nebula.
intelligent and like different subject. It's really hard to explain. You just have to kind of browse around it browse around on your own and see if you like
Is
it.
it
But it's nothing like Quibi.
Oh, that's too bad.
Nothing like Quibi. But it's only $15 for a whole year. So
Oh, for a year. Oh.
yeah. So I got on, and now I have Curiosity Stream and Nebula, and I've been watching a lot of videos on Nebula, like Real Life Lore, like a lot of the modern conflict stuff he does. So I was watching
They have podcasts.
Armenia versus like the Armenian Azerbaijanian. I forget how to say that name.
Azerbaijanian, yes.
Azerbaijanian conflict and all these like Ukraine, Russia. So I was watching a lot of history stuff.
That's cool. It's like Hardcore History, Dan Carlin's show.
Yeah, except not 3 hours.
Yeah, not
It's
17
just like
hours long.
you just realize the brutality of the entire world is just fucking unfathomable.
Oh, and yeah, absolutely. and most of the conflicts in the world are all over like land or like water. It's all like just like squabbles over who owns what land,
resources.
And I mean, I think you realize eventually that like right now is like our most least violent time in human history, right?
No, not at all. It's just as violent. You just don't hear about it.
Okay.
There's squabbles all over the world that you don't hear about.
But man, shit was brutal though. Back in those times.
I mean, it might be, but I think it's brutal. You just don't. They don't teach about this stuff.
It's a different kind of brutal now. You had to get up and close and personal to kill somebody back in those days.
Look them in the eye and shit.
Yeah, now you could just fucking drive a drone over there and vaporize people.
Yeah.
You know?
What also is interesting, so a lot of this stuff is like conflicts over resources and borders, and especially in water. The maritime laws are really interesting, but all these wars are like backed by like bigger countries. So every country is like funneling weapons and money into these countries. So like, for instance, Armenia, Azerbaijan, like Armenia is being funded by Russia. Right. Azerbaijan is being funded by like the U.S. and like it's very interesting. But anyways, so I've been on Nebula a lot, and then the last thing is I don't know if we talked about it on the show or if it was like us doing a side discussion. I can't remember because we always talk and I can't remember when you've actually pressed record. But I'm playing Wordle now, which is
shit. That happened. He was the first one to fall, Ruggs.
I'm playing Wordle.
I called it.
He called it.
It is pretty addicting. It doesn't actually take up that much time. It's just one word a day.
How do you play?
So you get, I think, 6 chances. It's a 5-letter word every day.
You have to guess a word.
You have to guess the word, and if you guess the word and like one of the letters is right, it'll highlight in yellow.
Okay.
If you get the right placement of the letter, it'll highlight in green. But you have like every time you guess the letters, it's like Wheel of Fortune, where like the letters go away. So you
can't use them.
Yeah, you know what letters are left, and you just have 6 attempts, and you're trying to get it in like less than 6 attempts.
And how have you been doing on it?
Today I didn't get it in 6 attempts. I didn't get it, but lately it's been like 5 or 6 attempts, which is not great. I'd rather.
Is there a 3. Clue?
No clue. It's just 5 letters.
No clue. Just a random 5-letter word.
5-letter word, and you got to you guess it, and it's one word a day.
And then they force you to post your results on Facebook.
No, you don't have to do that. But people get impressed. People post it when it's like.
We got it in 2.
Yeah, if you get it in 2, that's 1 is like complete luck. But if you get it in 2, that's pretty impressive.
How do you get it in 1? There's no way
that's
you're going to
pick. Luck.
I'm just going to make my own graphic of just ones and post them every day.
Oh my God, I'm doing that tomorrow. I'm making a Facebook graphic of Wordle. I'll get it in 1. I'm just going to keep posting that. Fuck it.
This is what you do. Google one column Wordles and then just take those and just post them on yours. You don't do shit.
How long do you think you're going to stick with the Wordle? How addictive is
it? I'm not like super addicted, but when I like happen to remember that it's going on, I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to try it.
I guess it's good for the brain. It's good brain exercise.
Yeah.
You know. All right. Ruggs, what do you got? What have you been watching?
Oh my God. I watched 3 episodes of Vox Machina, which is the Critical role-playing game podcast that inspired a cartoon.
Wow.
And so this is an animated show that takes place in like a Dungeons and Dragons type world. I found it to be very generic. It's like there's nudity in it, which is interesting. There's like cartoon boobs and like sexual stuff in there, and a lot of swearing and bad language and blood. So all that's there. There's a guy. I think I saw a guy's balls.
Oh no, you saw cartoon balls?
Yeah.
Were they hairy?
No, they were not. I don't believe they were. But I found it to be fine, like entertainment wise. Like it wasn't like grabbing me. I felt it to be very like, I don't know. I feel like that after watching Arcane and Invincible, like, and not only that, but like Super Crooks and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just par for the course. It's not anything groundbreaking. So if you want to watch it, check it out. I mean, I feel like the humor is the weakest part about it. Like, I think that the story is fine, but the humor is kind of bad. They need better comedy writers.
So it's on Amazon Prime. Is the story like the story they did it while they were playing Dungeons and Dragons on their YouTube?
It's the most boilerplate story.
Oh, it's kind of generic, huh?
Like you start. I can tell you the whole thing. It's just like what else do you expect? They have to go kill a monster,
right?
And so they get hired to kill a monster.
Yeah,
and so they ingratiate themselves to the king, and now the king wants them to be the personal, muscle.
Okay.
And things get a little bit complicated. Things, unravel from there. But like, it's pretty generic. Like, this is nothing unlike The Witcher or unlike, a bunch of other stuff that we've seen before.
Who's their audience? I would think fans of Critical Role would maybe be disappointed by this.
I think that anybody who likes elves and all that weird, it's like you could tell that it's kind of aimed at like a more Gen Z type of a crowd.
Okay.
But there is a lot of dirty humor in it. But I feel like it's like it's a little fan servicey, but like whatever. I said it's okay.
It's okay.
I'm gonna watch the rest of it.
Okay.
It's not terrible.
Okay.
So
just okay.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
I don't remember if I watched anything else. Did I say I watched?
No, I think
else? I did watch Tango and Cash again.
Oh, you did you? Oh, there's a reason for that. Stay tuned. Yeah. Don't ruin the surprise.
I won't talk about it. I did watch.
Last week you said you watched Injustice on HBO Max. I checked that out. It's actually pretty decent. There's
a lot of violence in there.
It's super violent, super disturbing. I'm like, maybe we should review it. It's only like over an hour, but a lot of interesting conversations about, should Superman and Justice League be the police of the world, and him turning into a tyrant, and why in the fucked up way Joker sets him up. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
I checked out 2 shows on Netflix. I finished this show on Netflix called Archive 81. This is a show that is an adaptation of a fiction podcast. Now, generally, they've done these before. There have been podcasts that have jumped to TV, and they have not been very good. They've kind of been lackluster. Nothing has really succeeded. This was actually pretty decent. Good production. The story is about this guy who is a video restorer, a film restorer. He cleans damaged VHS tapes and photos and restores them, right? So he gets a call from this mysterious rich guy to he come to this secluded compound and restore tapes that were in this fire in this building called the Visser in the 90s.
Is it porn?
It's not porn. It is it's a kind of a thesis that this girl, Melody, was shooting the history of the Visser of the building and the people who live there. So you're watching this video of her kind of making this project, but there's a reason she's there. These two are somehow connected. It's a kind of a horror mystery vibe. It wasn't bad. I watched all 10 episodes because it kept sucking me in with these crazy twists. There's some cult action, some weird shit happens. But as a podcast adaptation, I was like, this isn't bad. They did a good job here. I think they adapted it well for TV. And then I watched...
I've been hearing about that
Yeah,
one.
it's not bad. Archive 81. I dug it. It's good mystery. And then I watched the first 2 episodes of this show called All of Us Are Dead on Netflix, which is a Korean zombie high school horror show, basically a zombie outbreak in a high school. And the first 2 episodes, you follow the infection as it spreads through the school. And these zombies are fast, aggressive. It's some good zombie action. And it's very gory. And the first 2 episodes I thought were great. The horror and panic as the building is filled and, some students on the top floor have no idea that this is happening and they get caught and you meet a bunch of people and they get separated. Good. The stunts are actually really good. They must have hired some contortionists because these zombies, when they die and they turn quickly, they're doing these crazy fucking backbend moves and these crazy contortion moves. But it's not bad. I don't know. I hope it stays good. The first 2 episodes are good.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, if you're looking for it's good zombie drama there. Good bloody zombie drama.
All of Us Are Dead.
All of Us Are Dead from Korea. So that's all I got.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Anything else? Anthony, final words? You got a message for the listener?
Stay in school, kids.
Stay in school. That's definitely
Play Wordle.
play Wordle. Anthony.
1 column posts.
Anthony loves it.
I fucking loved it.
Coming soon.
Thanks for listening, Ruggs. Where can the listener find you online?
Find me online at Really Rug Boy on Twitter. You can tell that I'm tired.
He's
at this
tired.
point.
That's why we're done. That link will be in the show notes on our website, jockandnerd.com/420, dude. Light him up. Smoke him if you got him. That's right. Mike Rips approved.
Oh my god.
Oh
my god.
That's definitely going to be a clip next week. Look forward. And in the meantime, share the show, listener. Text it to your enemies, to your friends, to your acquaintances, to your best friends, to your old friends. Just text it to everyone. Grow this empire of
Text
stupidity.
it to your friends with benefits.
Yes, text it to your friends
Text it
with
to your
benefits.
beneficiary.
Text it
to your coefficient.
Text it to whoever is on your will.
Text it to Joe Montana and Joe Montana.
Text it to Ice T, Ice Cube, Vanilla Ice.
Nah,
text
now
it
you're
to
just
all of them.
quoting. You're just quoting. Come up with it off the top of the head.
Joe Montana, Joe Montana. That's just hilarious. I was dying. That's the best
Joe
part.
Piscopo.
Joe Piscopo. Joe Campbell.
Joe Pantaleone.
Joe Mama. Joey Pants.
There you go.
Text it to all of them. And yeah, thanks for listening to the Jock and Nerd Podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
Don't forget Joey Lawrence.
The fuck?
I want your head up when I throw my fist in the air.
Famous Joes.